So Mary's passing out some air dry clay right now, which is, we can explain it a little bit later, but we can use it in the performance to create, when they're dried and strung together, something that was a part of the decor in the performance. For us, they sort of look like vertebrae. We also make a really nice performance, which the composer used live at the performance. They're also like that.
It's okay. Do you want to go further in? Do you want to go further in? It's okay. It's okay.
Oh yeah, I'll show you.
Yeah.
So just a quick, all of the women involved in the production of this piece helped to create the sculpture that we eventually had in the performance. And with this air dry clay, what we did was sort of, if you flatten it out a bit, you can mark volumes in your own body. Or volumes, this is a nice spot right here. Something about the history, the space inside of us, a little bit metaphorical that way. So once again, all of the women who were involved in this piece helped make the bones actually that were a part of the sculpture. I've got to finish my classes. We've been working on since 2016. We created this work in collaboration with 3 other dancers, designers, musicians, and scholars, including Japanese dance artist Masato Hikawa and Kei. The piece originated from our conversations about changes as women in the contemporary dance field and our curiosity about how cultural attitudes towards older performers, particularly women, differ in Japan and the United States. We explored notions of presence, mass, weight of our history as performers, persistence, insistence, and most recently something about invisibility and visibility of performance. Our project culminated in performances at Arizona State University, Scottsdale Center for the Performing Arts, and Lynx Hall in Chicago during the 2017-2018 season, and it's been a super rewarding journey, and now we're here with a different iteration of it in the Global Festival. I'm trying to figure out, So we wanted to share with you right now a reel, it's kind of excerpts from the performance, and because of time, I'm going to talk over it. Well, you have to come to the performance to hear the audio. Okay. If I come. I'm going to just talk about it. I'll turn it down. There we go. Yeah. So in the first phase of our research, we collaborated with sociologist Dr. Rose White to examine some of the existing literature about dance and aging in the United States and Japan. This research provided the foundation for our interview methodology and the development of the performance. And during the fall of 2016, we traveled to Japan to conduct in-person interviews with 6 Japanese women dancers ranging in age from their mid-30s to their late 70s. These interviews centered on how cultural ideas about aging and gender inform their lives, careers, and embodied experiences. We were interested specifically in what is lost and what is gained as our somatic knowledge grows, but also as our bodies change. We were also curious about how dance and choreographic practices shift with age, and how artists navigate these changes as they get older. And finally, we wanted to learn about how women dancers negotiate different cultural ideas about aging. That's Dr. Rose White, actually with Mary here at the end. This is a little section we call Care. And this is the very end of the performance with the sculpture and the shaking that happens in all of it, and it starts breaking gradually and transforming. So if I could we invite you to stand up? We wanted to also weave into this lecture bit some experience. So if you wouldn't mind standing up, I'm going to share a little bit of the physical research with you. This is something we call shimmering. It came from one of the interviewees, Mika Kurosawa, the late Mika Kurosawa. But she talked about dance as having a very special quality, like life force, but comes from the inside out. Bless you.
So if you're just standing here, if you could just close your eyes. That's it. It's been a long day. Just feeling the support of the earth underneath you. Just recognizing that it's there to support you. There's space above you. There's space to the right of you, the left of you, in front of you, and the back of you, as if you're just held in this three-dimensional sense of space, and feeling the earth coming up to meet you underneath. Now this idea of shimmering is quite subtle, but just reimagine a light moving up. You can choose any place, but deep inside of yourself, so maybe along inside of your heel bone or the base of your pelvis, something like that. But the light is moving and traveling along the interior volumes of your body. Skeleton is an easy one to track. If you're interested, also the viscera inside of you, your organs, just tracking that with a sense of light, let's say. Could be a pinpoint of light, could be something that's expanding. So as you're here supported on the earth, and a sense of the space all around you supporting you, imagine this little bit of light that's moving inside of you, moving gradually to the skin, the muscle, out to the space around you, and just gradually, just very softly opening your eyes, receiving this space. This is the fast version. But imagining yourself, it's your presence, basically, that idea that it's expanding. All of your years, your history, moving from the inside to the outside. And for some of us, I can see it from here. There's a small sway in the room. There's a little bit subtle shifts. If you were to follow that light moving through your body, you might get other little shifts through the body. But just a sense of you, almost like a lighthouse. That kind of idea, moving in your presence. So there's a quick experience with shimmering, which we used in our research.
It was one of the openers. I just want to tell you a little bit about, you can all hear me, yes? I hate microphones. A little bit about the reason that we came together with this Japanese artist. I danced with Keita Kei, a company called Moving Earth. I don't know if any of you have heard of her. She was based in New York for 30 years, and I danced with her there for 10, and she's since returned to Japan. She's almost 80. And one of the things I always thought about as I got older and started to feel this kind of ageist attitude very present in the dance world, it sounds like similar things are happening here, but there's a lot of resistance to it. But I kept thinking of her because she's never ever talked about stopping, and I know this is partially because of different cultural values. The Japanese tend to really treasure their master artists, whereas at least in the West that I know of, in the United States, that's not as true. And even we're in higher ed as well as the professional arena, and we really feel it in both places. Like we're always thinking about it for our students and what we say to our students and catching our own ageist attitudes and how they come out. So Kay was really like a model for me of something different. And then Eileen had worked with Masako Kataura, who was up there earlier, for 10 years in Amsterdam with Magpie Music Dance. So we had these histories. We knew that they had very different experiences, and we wanted to collaborate with them to really find out what that meant in our bodies and in our attitudes and in the way that they approached performance. And as Eileen said, we did these interviews with 6 artists, aged 45 to Kay's age 80, and it varied so much for each of them. Like Kay, even as the older person, really didn't feel a lot of ageism in their culture. You know, sexism, yes, but she's been defying all of that her whole life. And some of the younger women actually were more aware of ageist attitudes in Japan. So, they're deeply intertwined. It's really hard to separate that out. Overall, what we found was ageism is much more prevalent in the US and sexism more so in Japan. But, they're so deeply related that it's hard to tease it apart. So what we did is when we interviewed the artists, we used their narratives to inspire every aspect of our creative process. Their own stories, our stories, very abstracted. And we really experimented with different movement qualities in our bodies. So Eileen just shared the shimmering. Also, you should know about Rose. She did the shimmering at the beginning too. She does a lot of social dance, but she has very little movement training in the professional sense. And she was just fabulous to work with. She gave us a really different perspective, especially coming from another discipline, like always calling on us to be more specific. We're so metaphorical and kind of out there, and she'd be like, what does this mean? This doesn't relate to the content. So it was wonderful to have that viewpoint. And she was just amazing, jumping in and working with us. So she sort of became the star of the show. So one of the things she did was she took the research and provided some context before the performance. So we were playing with this blend of scholarship into live performance, and we changed it according to the venue that we were in, because sometimes it was just too academic. And it became, she found a way to embody it more and have it be more of a storytelling process. And then also what we experimented with was kind of layering the cultural aesthetics. Rather than trying to fuse things, it was really important to us to respect each other's worlds in a way. So it was very much a hybridization, I would say, almost, a juxtaposition. And that, because of the sense of community and collaboration we developed, I think that came on really well. It's a tricky thing to balance. But anyway, we want to move on and get you moving more, because that's what we like to do. So if you could stand up a little. What? You have 5 minutes. Okay, cool. This is a good one to end with. So we experimented with finding ways to embody these stories, and what Eileen and I like to do is find that in kind of movement quality. So this is a little more abstracted, but this is a section we call mass. And just again, you can start, you don't have to close your eyes, but maybe start in like a wide stance, something where you feel the power of the earth under you, where you almost feel like, if Eileen tried to push me, I'm not going to move. So yeah, we played a lot with this sense of resistance. And what we were doing was kind of resisting, in a way, some of the cultural expectations of us as older women, a little bit of a F you, if you will. So kind of like amplifying our presence and what we thought of sometimes as taking on power. So you can just, take any shape you want, but the idea, and sometimes, it works to have a little more of a plie, but the idea is just to fill your internal volume and also let that expand out into the space. Yeah, so you're giant. So we almost thought of these. You have these gorgeous giant eucalyptus trees. So
great.
We almost are the banyan.
The banyan.
The banyan trees.
Yeah.
I saw them when I went to Brisbane one year, but I haven't seen any. But anyway, it was that feeling of just this giant presence, and you can move it. And what's tricky about it is to find the power and the resistance without locking up, but continuing to expand. Yeah, beautiful. And then what we would do is take it into some contact at times, but not typical contact improvisation, more like moving through you to feel your own volume and someone else's. So it did turn into a lot of resistance, and then trying to move it a little fast, how can you hold on to that quality without even without losing it when you're moving quickly. It's a really good feeling.
In a way, you can use one another.
Your aura.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. I can feel it now. Yeah.
Take your space.
because this connection to the ground.
Yeah, and then find someone to connect with. And then just, you can slow it down. And yeah, maybe find a way to feel each other's volume. So using resistance. And trying to expand into each other and away at the same time.
Oh yeah. That sort of tensorial idea into and away.
Yeah, and then start connecting with a larger group. That's excellent. That helps you feel all the surfaces of the body.
I just been staying right good. Trying to get back to normal.
Yeah, and if you're in a position where we can start to contract the space a little bit, almost like making it very dense, coming in towards each other. Good, still feeling that resistance. Yeah, each other. Pressure, and then expand your body opposition. Like we just keep growing in volume and size.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so you can find the flow. Yeah, if you're close, we only have 2 minutes, so if you're close to each other, you can just stay close.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's a really satisfying feeling. We found it
Your
very
own
satisfying.
mass, your own. The same idea that we used to make the sculptures with, exactly. So your own sense of presence, your own mass. I made a giant breastplate. It's not here. But you know, our space inside, our volume, and then that connection up and through. And the persistence.
Yeah, we played a lot with that idea of insistence, which you'll see. We're doing a new version of the piece on Saturday. The collaborators were not able to come due to funding and availability, so it's transformed yet again, which has been really fun to do different iterations of it. And we've been experimenting with different qualities as well. But we don't have the gorgeous sculpture, but we have some other gorgeous things on the floor. So yeah, come see us, and thank you very much. And we would love to chat. We're really hoping to talk to people. We're interested in knowing what it's like for you here versus what we're experiencing in the States.